just another lovely day in autumn. Hello everybody, it's me Leonie, and today I'm going to be doing my autumn wrap-up. The reason I'm doing an autumn wrap-up instead of just a regular November wrap-up is because I haven't been reading much. I'm kind of in this ridiculously huge bad reading slump. It's actually such a bad reading slump that I decided to give it a name. It's called University. So yes, indeed, university has been taking up a lot of my time. I'm also doing NaNoWriMo, which means that during the month of November I had like zero time to read. But I still have 10 things to show you, so let's quickly dive into that. So the first book that I read during autumn is actually a book which I started at the beginning of summer, and I read the last 50 pages in the first days of September, so well, it counts as the book that I read during autumn. It was just the last 50 pages, and that was Allegiant by Veronica Roth. I didn't really enjoy it. I gave it 2 stars. This is the last book in the Divergent trilogy, but it might as well just have been an entirely new story. Or at least that's what it read like. I had already been spoiled for the ending of this book, so I was able to mentally prepare myself for the ending for about 2 years. So when it did happen, it didn't really shock me. But to be honest, the ending of this book isn't really what made me dislike the story. Actually, I thought that it was a very brave thing to end your trilogy with. I'm not mad about the ending. What I didn't like about this book was, in fact, the plot and the turn that this book took. We basically say goodbye to everything that happened in the last 2 books and start this completely new story and conflict and problem, and I just couldn't get myself to care. This is not a bad book, okay? There's lots of action, lots of plot twists, there's lots of things happening, but I just couldn't get myself to care. I really liked Divergent, but this one kind of killed it for me. Oh, that was a bad no. Let's not use that word. The next book that I read during autumn was How to Tell If Your Cat Is Plotting to Kill You by Oatmeal, who actually has an actual name, but I don't know what his actual name is. This is just a compilation of graphics and comics about cats and how evil they are. I read this in like 2 hours. It was very funny, actually. If you own a cat, you will relate to this on a deep emotional level. My cat has not yet killed me. I'm still alive, which is your proof that this book saves lives. Get it now if you have a cat or you will be killed. It was just a very funny book, and some things were funnier than other things, and so I ended up giving it 3 stars because I enjoyed this book. Then I read The Wrath and the Dawn by Renee Ahdieh. This is a retelling of 1001 Nights, which is, if you don't know, about a caliph that marries a woman every day only to have her executed the next morning. And our main character, Sherzad, volunteers to be his bride, not in a Hunger Games Katniss kind of way, but in a way of, I have a plan and I am going to survive the dawn and I will kill the caliph. And that's what this story is about. It's a romance fantasy, so I guess you can kind of, guess what's gonna happen. I very much enjoyed this book. I thought it was absolutely wonderful. The writing is beautiful. All these side characters are so interesting, just like the main characters. But what I liked the most about this book is, 1, the world, just the fantasy setting. It's set in this world that has been based on a Middle Eastern kind of culture, and I really like that because I had never ever read a book that has been based on that kind of culture, so it was a lot of fun to get to know this world. And I also just loved the romance in this book. I'm usually not a big fan of purely romance novels, but I absolutely loved this one. It's so well done. What this forbidden love did to me was that I actually genuinely believed that it was really not a good idea for them to get together. Usually when there's this forbidden love, you're like, yeah, whatever, just get together. But with this one, I was like, oh, that's really not good, but you still ship it. But it's really not good, but you still ship it. I gave it 4 stars, and the only critique point that I have to say is that I thought that it was a little bit insta-lovey. Even though I shipped them together and I really loved them together, I never quite understood why they actually fell for each other. They didn't really have a reason to like each other, and especially Sherzad, our main character, had no reason to suddenly start loving the person that she hated so much. But that's the only thing, the rest was just fabulous. Then the next thing I read was 6 of Crows by Leigh Bardugo. This is about 6 underdogs that team up to free a prisoner from this highly secure prison, and it's also about just everything in their lives and what makes them want to go on this mission, and I absolutely adored it. This is my new favorite book. I have nothing bad to say about it. There's a lot of action, there is super interesting, amazing magic, and also all the characters are not your typical characters. They're all a little bit of morally gray characters. They're anti-heroes, which I super much enjoyed, and I will love this book forever. I gave it 5 stars if you couldn't guess already. If you want to know more about me gushing about this book, I have a review on it. The next book that I read was Crimson Bough by Rosamund Hodge. This is a fantasy retelling of Red Riding Hood about a girl that is attacked by a monster, and she gets the choice either you die in 3 days or you kill someone in 3 days and become a monster as well. And that's where the story takes off. This is the kind of book that's very different from other YA books that I've read. It has very interesting characters that are not likable at all. It has love interests that are not your perfect typical YA love interests. It has a world and a magic system that is completely unique and very different, and basically everything that Rosamund Hodge usually does in her books. The only thing that was a little bit meh for me was the plot. I felt like this book could have been a lot more, because the plot didn't really give the opportunity for everything and the characters and the world to evolve in its best way, and it kind of just contained it because the plot was a little bit easy. But other than that, I really enjoyed it, and I will read anything that Rosamund Hodge publishes in the next forever. I also have a review on this if you want to know more. And then I kind of stopped reading things. And when I'm in a reading slump, I always turn to short stories or graphic novels, so that's what I'm going to show you. I read the first 3 volumes of Liar Game by Shinobu Kaitani. This is a manga series that is about the Liar Game, which is a game where you can win a lot of money if you are able to play the games right, but if you lose a lot of money. We follow a boy and a girl while they play the game and try their best to not lose. It's kind of a psychological mystery manga that deals with a lot of mind games and psychological tricks, which I really like. I always love it when there's like these really intricate plans and people that are thinking 10 steps ahead, and that's what this book offers. But I do have to say that I would have liked it if the story had more subplots, because we only got to see the Liar Game, and I think the story would have been a lot more interesting and would be a lot more layered if we had more subplots and more things to follow, more character development and more information on all the different characters, because now everything was just kind of like, okay, we're playing the Liar Game and that's all we're doing. At first I gave them 4 stars because they were very enjoyable, but I only read the first 3 volumes, and there are about 27 volumes in this series, and my library only has the first 3, and I'm not even mad about it. I don't feel the need to read the other 14 ones, so that's why I took my rating down to 3 stars. The next thing I read was The Nightingale by Hans Christian Andersen, which was a whopping 10 pages. It's one of the stories in his Hans Christian Andersen's fairy tales. I could give you a synopsis, but that would mean I would basically just be telling you the entire story because it's only 10 pages. So you could just look it up, it's public domain, and read it, okay? It's only 10 pages. It would take you 20 minutes. And I really suggest it because even though it's only 10 pages, that's really short, I still felt like it needed 4 stars, okay? I really liked it, and it's a very good sign if a story that's only 10 pages long makes me think, whoa, I really liked this. I felt like this story just carried a very magical message to it. Not only did it bring me very beautiful visuals, it also talks about how you should be happy with what you have, and maybe about how a appearances are not the most important thing, about how not everything can be replaced, and that flawless does not equal perfect. This short story just really made me very excited to read all of his other fairy tales. And then the last thing I read was Ellison Murderland by Kaori Yuki. This is the first volume in a fairly new manga series that is about this mother that tells her 9 children to start killing each other, and then the one survivor will be the one that will inherit the family's special power and will be the heir to the family. Yeah, I know. That does not make any sense. I honestly do not know what I think about this book, because it's a very disturbing book, okay? It has, not only does it have 9 siblings trying to kill each other, it also just features a lot of super psycho characters. Like, all these characters are crazy, and there's some very disturbing romance going on. You know, once in a while I like myself a little bit of disturbing things. I am a big horror fan, but this one was just, it was just weird. It was just weird. But on the other hand, there were also things that I actually really enjoyed. So for example, all these siblings turn out to have an alter ego with super awesome powers that all are from a fairy tale. For example, our main character's alter ego is Alice in Wonderland. There is a Jack the Ripper, there's a Red Riding Hood, and all the other siblings are also from a certain fairy tale that have these very killer-like powers, which was very interesting. Also, the art is absolutely beautiful. I don't know, everything that Yen Press publishes just has like very good quality art. I really liked it. There were some good plot twists here and there. It was very gory and there was a lot of action, and sometimes I just do like it. But then again, sometimes it just got too weird, and I don't think I'm able to voice an opinion on this one. I'm gonna give the second volume a try and then see if I'll get a little bit more of a clear vision of what I'm thinking after reading the next volume, because it does leave me wanting to know what's gonna happen. And those were all the books that I read during the month of September, October, and November. I also started a lot of books, as in I'm currently reading 6 books at a time, and I hope I can get to those in December. I really hope that I'll be reading a lot more during December so that I can just do a December wrap up. I hope you enjoyed it. Thanks for watching, and I will see you another time. Goodbye!